Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My subjects. Oh, hello, my subjects. Welcome back to my channel. I don't know which order. Anywho, not the point. So today, I'm gonna give you some advice. Now, if you're a writer like me, you write characters. Is that correct? If not, and you want to learn how to write a character, well, then you're in the right place. Now, I'm not the best at writing characters, nor explaining how to write one. I'll try my best to explain in a way where you may understand. Now, here to help me today is the character I wrote with this in mind, of course. How to write an unhinged or slash or insane character in general. And here to help me today is John. Hello, I'm here to be a great example for you all. So first, what I suggest you do as a writer is first get good at whatever character you are interested in. For example, I've always been interested in writing a insane or an unhinged character. There goes John. First, get good at what you want to do, or the character you want to try to write, or get better at what you're good at, what character you think you could be good at acting, the hero, the villain, and what you think would be in your comfort zone. Then when writing a character, you also gotta learn how to step out of said comfort zone. For example, like John, I had to learn to step out of my comfort zone a lot. How to laugh like a maniac. See, when you write an insane or an unhinged person, you gotta learn when to ride that high and when to bring it down. Like, for an example, with John, take breaks. If you're gonna make an insane or unhinged character, don't take it too far. What I mean by that is, those characters are known for laughing like maniacs, yes, but you also gotta know when to stop the laugh, when to, like, cut it short, when to make it longer, when to do this and do that, which I'm not all that great at. But again, this character is outside of my comfort zone. I'm not used to, and again, you gotta learn how to step out of your comfort zone when writing a character like this. Especially if you're not comfortable with writing a character like this. Because if you're not comfortable writing a character like this, how are you supposed to act as said character, right? So, basically, get comfortable with whatever character you're trying to write, is what I'm trying to say. And I've gotten as comfortable as I can with John in specific. For an example, now pay real close attention, my friends. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun. Notice how I didn't do a long laugh. There were more giggles. There were more, like, short laughs cut in by words. So and so. You gotta save the long laughs for, like, important moments or tense moments to make it a lot more tense, or at least make it so the character does something interesting. Now again, when writing an insane or an unhinged character, something you also gotta keep in mind that not every unhinged character you have to make is evil, has to be evil. Taking John as an example, he's more of a morally gray character who kills horrible and bad people, yes, but he's also insane. But he's also kind and a good person deep down. He's just, a bit It has a bit screws loose. Again, when writing an unhinged character or an insane character, you gotta learn how to break a trope. You can't just you gotta learn how to make a character your own without going into all insane characters are evil. All characters who are psychopathic or sociopathic are evil. That's not a route. That's not. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do. I'm just saying it's very played out, which is why I made John the way he is. Instead of being a villain, he's a hero. Which again, writing a character like that, you have to learn how to get out of your comfort zone. And of course, when it comes to serious moments, that's when you let out the long laugh. When you let out the laugh, it's usually easier to let out when you're writing it as an evil villain or writing a psychopathic evil villain. When writing a hero character like John, if you wanna, of course, I'll give you two examples: villain and hero. Here's the hero example. You don't understand it, do you? Evil never wins. Light will always come out and outshine you. To think you could take over this world where there's darkness lurking, light is always near. Hope you find what you're looking for in the afterlife. Now, that was the hero version. Of course, the hero version can go in many different of ways, but whenever you're writing the hero version of an unhinged or psychopathic person, you have to realize how to write it, how to make it so it doesn't sound villainous, which is a bit difficult, but once you get it down, you'll know what to do with it. Next is the villain example, and this one's, well, you'll see. Welcome to the show. This has all just been building up to this moment. Everyone's watching. You wouldn't want to fail the people you've tried so hard to protect. The people you've promised to, promise them to have a happy and safe life. If you are unable to win today, well, their blood will be on your hands. Show. And I'm at the spotlight of it all. Tell me, how long are you willing to fight, hero? How willing are you to put these innocent lives at risk just to boost your ego? Now, you can kind of tell the difference. One's a little less insane. That would be the hero version. The hero version's a lot less manic, a lot less long laugh, a lot less of a showboater, I guess. Which, again, depending on how you write the character, you can write them to be the same as a villain psychopath, but, different morals and stuff like that. Of course, I have the most experience writing a character like this. This is a character I've been trying to write for years. And the character I've poured more of my life into perfecting the way that he is. It takes a lot of time to step out of your comfort zone and learn how to make a character like that, let alone how to laugh and sound like a maniac. Which brings me to the next point. If you want to write a psychopathic character, you gotta learn when to be manic, when to be a bit crazy. You gotta smile a lot more. You gotta try to make yourself look uncanny, Like, widen your eyes, smile. Look unhinged as you can possibly look. Or at least what you think unhinged looks like. When writing a sociopath, however, that's a little more different in terms of how to write a character. The way I write a sociopath is the way I do it with John, which is someone who is smart but also goofs off and is still a bit insane here and there. Like, they get like a Dr. Jekyll and Hyde situation, but it's not like split personality or anything like the book. John can be serious. He can be smart, but he can also be goofy and very comedic and just not take anything seriously. These are all John. This is all a part of John. This is who he is as a person. Not like. How do I explain this in words that make sense? He's basically the same person throughout. It's not an act. It's not him acting like he's crazy or like him acting like he's a goofball. He is a goofball. He is serious. He's just very. It tends to flip between both of them. It's not an act. It's more of him showing two parts of himself that are the same, kind of. When writing a sociopath, you also gotta learn how to make. Again, a sociopath and a psychopath are completely two different types of characters. You gotta make a sociopath smart from time to time. While a psychopath is just fully insane. Joker. Well, actually, no. Joker is a bit of a sociopath. Not the point, but still, more of like early days Joker, not smart Joker. I'm talking laughing gas, willing to blow up a hospital full of children kind of Joker. I'm not talking smart enough to kidnap Jason and keep him hidden in a warehouse, or I guess Arkham Asylum, or whatever version of Jason's story you've been introduced to, and not being able to be found. Two different Jokers, very two different. So yeah, when outright writing a psychopathic character, you gotta learn when to. You gotta learn to not only step out of your comfort zone, but realize that you're writing a psychopathic character. Now, a sociopathic character is what John is, which again, more experience on that kind of character. What John does is basically he makes his enemies underestimate him. Again, that's the mentality of a sociopath. Try to fit in, right? Try to make themselves. They're like a lot more smarter than a sociopath. Like, for example, for any serial killer you've seen that have been deemed as a sociopath, they're really good at blending in to society, acting like a normal person when in reality they're not. I take that concept and flip it on its head. I'm wearing this. Hold on. Again, when writing a character like that, you gotta learn how to also make it your own and take in your own kind of like, I guess, twist with it. Like, for example, what I do with John is I make it so his whole entire thing is being goofy and standing out, unlike most sociopaths who like to blend in and not stand out. John does his best to stand out, so that way any and all enemies that attack him will underestimate his abilities, which is sociopathic behavior. Because he's basically making sure that his enemy knows that he isn't a threat, only for them to realize immediately that he is very much a threat. It's the best way I can describe the way I write him. It's the best way I can describe it. At least other people can describe it in way better ways. I don't know anyone else who's written characters like I have, but I'm giving you my walkthrough of how I wrote my character known as John. But again, yeah, when making a sociopathic character, make everything they do revolve around being a sociopath. Everything they do is out of pure genius and pure just love of the game. The love of the game. And again, I would at least like to believe that someone like John is very unique when it comes to his type of character, the type of character at least I made for him. Especially once season 6 comes around, you'll realize that his type of character makes sense and why he hasn't done most of the stuff that someone with his abilities would do. But yeah, basically, when writing a psychopathic character and a sociopathic character, you gotta know to also let the character play with their food. Most sociopathic characters and psychopathic characters have an obsession with someone or something. That doesn't always need to be the case, because I never wrote John with a obsession of some kind. Not with a person, at least. He has an obsession with doing hero work, I guess, and, killing evil people, but that's pretty much it. And I guess, again, playing with his food by not acting, but being himself, but not being his true self, which is also sometimes being serious and smart, He basically hides his other habits, this other usual stuff he does, so people can underestimate him and take him off as nothing more than just he's just the goofy guy who does funny stuff. That's basically his whole entire character. And again, he likes to play with food, which is why he never fully outright murders someone until later on. It doesn't, like, for example, what's a great example? The recent Easter special I did. Remember, he's omnipotent. He knew from the very start that the Easter Bunny was not the Easter Bunny. He knew that the second that they met, way before they even met. He knew. And yet he still chose to not only wait for him to mess up, then shoot him in the knees, and then call out their mistakes. And be like, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you did this wrong, and you did that wrong. He didn't need to do that. He already knew from the start, way before they even met. He knew that was not the Easter Bunny. Because again, he's omnipotent. He knows everything. He sees and knows all. That is, again, I'll explore more of his character as the seasons go on. Specifically season 6, because that's the most centric John season. But yeah, that is my advice for how to write again. Actually, yeah, no. You also gotta learn how to write dialogue. Not everything about an insane person is laughing. You also gotta know how to write a certain kind of dialogue that makes them scary, or at least insane to some point or degree, or at least show them what they're capable. Like, for example, my favorite example of this is the Joker. We have two scenes. One, he tells a joke to Batman. And the second one, is him being like in Batman Origins, where it's like something, 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 something. It's Christmas time, and then blows up a place, you know? Both instances show you that, one, Joker is not always insane, and two, how to write dialogue for not only an insane person, but an unhinged person. You also gotta know when to say certain stuff that is basically classified as unhinged or psychopathic. For an example, I don't have a great example of this right now, but I can, hold on. I'll tear you limb from limb. And then, when I'm done, then, well, I'll just regenerate your body, and then I'll cut off your fingers, and then I'll regrow them again, and again, and again, and again. Until you're finally nothing more than just, well, numb to the pain. Consider this a mercy for all the crimes you've committed. Don't worry, though. You won't be in pain for much longer. Now, one thing. I hope that was a really good example. I don't think it was, but I hope it was. Anywho, you also gotta learn what to do with a main character. If you're gonna make, for example, with someone like John, if you're gonna make a psychopathic character, the main character, try to make him a sociopath, or at least someone that can drop the act. Well, not the act. Someone who knows when to stop being the comedic relief and start taking things seriously. Like, because if you're gonna have a main character like that, like again, a main character who's a psychopath, if you can't know how to drop the act, not the act, how to take things seriously, that character will drag down any and all serious moments. Which, if you don't want to have serious moments, that's fine. But if you are gonna have serious moments, you gotta learn to make that character so they can take things seriously. Because if not, they'll just ruin the scene by making nothing more but jokes and jokes, or just laughing and stuff like that. You gotta learn how to drop the insanity and take things seriously. For an example. And so I said to him, "Why did you cut off your own fingers?" And he said, "Return to monk." I don't know. I don't understand how some people can be crazy. Anywho. Night, gentlemen. Hey, how's it going? Lovely night we had here. You alright? Need someone to talk to? Mind if I take a seat next to you? You want to talk about it? You know, all my life, I've lived quite a lovely life, really. I've met tons of people. They always just seem so nice, you know? It's always horrible how the good ones always die early. And the bad ones just stay alive longer than they should. I don't say I feel your pain, but I know what you're going through. I've seen it. I've seen people who've well, gone through what you've gone through. Heck, I've gone through it myself. Everyone dies one day. You just gotta learn when to let it go, you know? It's okay to cry in moments like these. When you cry, it gives you memories. Memories to remember. Memories to remember them by. You know, I've always been the comedic relief, but I've always wanted to be someone people can talk to. People who give out their secrets to. People, I wanted to be someone who is trusted to keep secrets, to comfort someone in their time of need. I knew some people back then. Not immortal like I am. Everyone eventually dies. Sure, I have powers like bringing them back from the dead, reviving, give someone immortality, but no one ever wants to be immortal. No one ever wants to spend the rest of their lives alive, even for you. No one's willing to live through life fully, you know? Besides, I've seen them. They'd rather be dead than alive right now. They said they've lived their lives. They've gone through so much. If you need anyone to talk to, I'm right here. But if you need someone to keep you company, I'm here as well. If you want someone to fill the dead air, tell you stories about their past, I'm here too. But if you want to be alone, well, I'm not gonna let you be here alone, stewing those thoughts. Stewing in those thoughts is horrible, especially by yourself. What you need is someone. And I'll be here as long as you need me to. Whether you need me to be serious or happy. The comedic relief or someone willing to be here and listen. Take your time. I'll be here when you need me. I actually almost cried while talking as John. I almost actually let out tears. Again, something you need to know just when writing a character is how to get attached to them and how to get into the mindset of that character. Get sad when that character is supposed to be sad. Get angry when that character is supposed to be angry. You gotta get into that mindset, which I'll do another video about. Which is how to write a character, how to do emotions, or how to get into character. But again, this was just me yapping. It was not really yapping, but basically teaching you how to write a character. At least the character I've written. So yeah, again, depending on the kind of writer you are, maybe you can write a psychopathic character who takes absolutely nothing serious and still do serious scenes and, do your best to make it work and, works. After all, people are a lot more better writers than I am. But yeah, that was me writing about John. I'm sorry, talking about how I wrote John and how to get into the mindset of an unhinged character. Thank you for listening to me. Also, I'll be doing another video special soon. Hopefully soon. I say another thank you, which will be later on down the line. Hopefully. hopefully. Anywho, have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, or night. I'll see you whenever I'm done hibernating. Goodbye, my subjects. Peace.